Hi, I'm Deneen Shoemaker, and welcome to the 420 Minute. One of the things that I have been noticing a lot lately is this attitude of scarcity. And it's interesting because as I talk to my friends, for instance, I hear things like, I just wasn't a very good dad. Or I really didn't give my kids what they needed growing up. Or even simple things like, I'm not enough. I'm not pretty enough. I'm not smart enough. I'm not savvy enough. I don't have enough. I am not enough. Would you agree that this is kind of the attitude? And it's interesting because here we live in a country that literally has some of the greatest material wealth. And yet, I also believe that we are some of the most needy people in the world. I believe scarcity is a huge issue in this country. And Brene Brown talks about scarcity, and she says it's her belief that it is this scarcity which drives this intolerance for vulnerability in us. And I find that really interesting because without vulnerability, there is no real relation or relationship, right? So let me just give you a for instance. Today, after the church service, we do something that we call Rewind, and it's just an opportunity for people to gather very informally after the message to just talk about what we'd heard in the message and what it meant and whatnot. And so there was a gentleman in there today who chose to be vulnerable with us and to share, at least in his words, that which he really had no intention of sharing when he came in that room today. And as he was sharing, what I began to realize was this was holy ground. This was a sacred space. I've heard it mentioned in the Bible, this is holy ground you are standing on, so remove your feet. Or, not your feet, you can't remove your feet. Remove your shoes, right? So as this man was sharing from his heart, from a place of true vulnerability, I realized that we were indeed on holy ground. And that in that moment, he chose to not embrace scarcity, but instead to embrace that vulnerability without which there would be no connection. But being vulnerable with people is difficult because so many people will take the vulnerability that you have shown and they will use it against you. They will go and they will tell half-truths about what it is that you've told them. People can be real jerks and they can use that which you have intended to bring you closer to actually bring more space between. So there's no doubt about it that you have to be very selective about who you choose to set aside that scarcity and who you choose to embrace that vulnerability with. But as this man was sharing, one of the things that really occurred to me was I think that's how God reacts when we choose to be grateful for what we have we throw off the attitude of scarcity, we get real with God, and we simply talk and express ourselves vulnerably, so that dispositions and character can be better understood. I'm tired of having relationships with people who aren't willing to be real and authentic and vulnerable. I'm tired of having to deal with people who are absolutely stuck in a position of scarcity. And so my prayer for you this week is that you yourself may throw off the thoughts that you are not good enough and that you are not enough. And that you can also begin to really establish and nurture those relationships in your life which bring you to that spot of vulnerability. They're the only way to truly connect. And if you're unable or unwilling to let those fears go and embrace your vulnerability, you're never going to move forward in your personal or godly relationship. So just some things to think on this week. I hope this has been helpful. If it has been, share away, and most of all, just really try to live each day the best that you can, because we gotta live our best life now, because this ain't no dress rehearsal. Grace and peace.